The text from my mother glowed on my phone screen as my driver navigated through Manhattan's morning traffic. Darling, about the anniversary party this weekend. We've had an overwhelming response from your father's business associates. I'm afraid we'll have to rescind your invitation. You understand, don't you? We need space for important guests. I glanced out the window of my Rolls-Royce at the towering glass building that housed my company, Nova Technologies. The same building where, in exactly 2 hours, I would be finalizing the acquisition of my father's struggling corporation. Though he didn't know that yet. Ms. Davidson, my assistant's voice came through the car's speaker system. The board members are assembled for the emergency meeting. Your father's company's stock has dropped another 15% this morning. Perfect timing, I murmured, thinking of the anniversary party invitation now sitting in my Manhattan penthouse's paper shredder. Has he accepted the meeting? Yes, Miss Davidson. Your father believes he's meeting with Nova's mysterious CEO about a potential bailout. He has no idea it's you. I smiled, remembering last month's family dinner where my father had bragged about his upcoming meeting with Nova's reclusive founder. The CEO never appears in public, he told everyone at the table. Probably some eccentric tech genius. Not like our Sarah, still dabbling in her little software projects. Little did he know that my little software projects had built a tech empire worth billions, while his traditional manufacturing company had been bleeding money for years. Sarah, my mother's voice had dripped with disappointment that night. When are you going to join your father's company? Take a real position instead of playing with computers all day. The Rolls pulled into my private underground garage where my executive team waited. Jessica, my COO, held a tablet displaying real-time stock updates. Your father's company lost another $100 million in market value this morning, she reported as we walked to the private elevator. The vultures are circling. Good thing we're not vultures, I replied, straightening my Armani suit. We're sharks. And it's feeding time. The boardroom occupied the entire top floor, with views of Manhattan that made most people forget to breathe. My father was already there, along with his key executives, all of them looking nervous in their outdated suits and desperate expressions. The CEO will be here shortly, my assistant announced, not letting on that I was standing right there. Thank God, my father muttered, not recognizing me in my CEO attire rather than the casual clothes I wore to family functions. We need this bailout. Nova Technologies is our last hope. I sat quietly at the far end of the table watching him fidget. He'd never seen me in action. Never bothered to attend any of my product launches or tech presentations. In his mind, I was still the daughter who'd disappointed him by choosing computers over his manufacturing empire. Will the CEO be joining us? He asked anxiously, looking around the room. The CEO is already here, I said clearly, standing up. My father's face went through a series of expressions: confusion, disbelief, shock. Sarah? What are you doing here? Where's Nova Sue? You're looking at her, I replied calmly. Though you'd know that if you'd ever bothered to attend any of my company's events, or read any tech news, or simply asked me what I actually do for a living. His face paled as the implications started sinking in. The stock tickers on the wall told the story in brutal clarity. His company's shares in free fall, while Nova Technologies continued its steady climb. This is impossible, he whispered. You play with computers. You're not. Not what, Dad? Not successful. Not powerful. Not worthy of an invitation to your anniversary party. The other executives were frantically Googling on their phones, their eyes widening as they found article after article about Nova's brilliant but private CEO, Sarah Davidson. But your little software company, my father stammered, generated more revenue last quarter than your company has in the past 5 years, I finished for him. Those little software projects you dismissed? They're now worth more than your entire industry sector combined. My phone buzzed, a text from my mother. Darling, are you very disappointed about the party? We just need to maintain certain standards. I showed the message to my father, whose face had turned an interesting shade of gray. Speaking of standards, I said quietly, let's discuss your company's future. Or rather, its lack of one. Because sometimes, the uninvited daughter holds all the invitations that really matter. The boardroom's tension could have been cut with a knife as my father stared at the financial projections now displayed on the massive screen. His company's declining metrics contrasted sharply with Nova's soaring success. As you can see, I continued professionally, Davidson Manufacturing has lost market share consistently over the past decade. Your refusal to modernize, to embrace digital transformation has left you vulnerable. Your stock has dropped 60% this year alone. We've been in business for 40 years, my father protested weakly. We know our industry. Knew your industry, I corrected, pulling up more charts. While you were clinging to outdated methods, we were revolutionizing manufacturing through AI and automation. The very technologies you mocked at family dinners. My phone buzzed again. Another text from my mother. Your father's business associates are very excited about the party. The governor is coming. Surely you understand why we need to be selective. I projected the message onto the screen, watching my father wince as his executives read it. Interesting timing, I mused. The governor. Would that be Governor Richards? Who, coincidentally, just approved Nova's new tech hub project last week. My father's face paled further. You know the governor? Know him? I'm his largest campaign donor. Though you'd know that if you'd attended any of his fundraisers. I was usually the keynote speaker. Jessica stepped forward with more documents. Ms. Davidson, the acquisition papers are ready. Shall we proceed with the vote? Acquisition. My father's voice cracked. What acquisition? Nova Technologies has been buying shares in Davidson Manufacturing through various subsidiaries for the past year, I explained. As of this morning, we own 48% of your company. This meeting is to discuss our offer for the remaining shares. The executives were now openly staring at their phones, reading headlines about Nova's latest conquest. My father grabbed his own phone, fingers trembling as he pulled up his company's stock ticker. The price. It's soaring, he whispered. Yes, I nodded. The market responds well to competent leadership. Speaking of which, I turned to his executives. Those of you who wish to remain with the company will need to interview for your positions. We don't believe in nepotism at Nova. My father's face flushed red. Now see here, young lady. Young lady. I cut him off sharply. I think you mean Ms. Davidson, or C.O. Davidson. This isn't a family dinner where you can dismiss my achievements. This is business. Another message flashed across the screen. My mother again. The caterers need final numbers. I've told them 300 guests, all VIPs. It will be the social event of the season. I smiled slightly. Speaking of social events, I'm afraid I'll have to decline your disinvitation to the anniversary party. What do you mean? My father asked, confusion mixing with his panic. The Grand Plaza Hotel, isn't it? Saturday night. I pulled up another document. Interesting choice, considering Nova Technologies acquired that property last month. In fact, I checked my watch. My renovation teams should be arriving right about now. Right on cue, my phone rang. I put it on speaker. Ms. Davidson, the hotel manager's voice filled the room. The construction crews are here as scheduled. Shall we begin the immediate renovations you ordered? Proceed, I replied calmly. I believe there was some event scheduled for Saturday. Please ensure all deposits are refunded and guests are notified of the cancellation. My father jumped to his feet. You can't do this. We've invited the governor, business leaders, society's elite. You mean my business partners? My fellow CEOs? The politicians I fund? I raised an eyebrow. I'm sure they'll understand. After all, business comes before pleasure, doesn't it? Isn't that what you always taught me? The room had grown very quiet. My father's executives were looking between us like spectators at a tennis match, their own futures hanging in the balance. Now, I continued, shall we discuss the terms of your company's acquisition? Or would you prefer to wait until the market forces you into bankruptcy? The silence was broken by a commotion outside the boardroom. Through the glass walls, we could see my mother storming past security, her face a mask of social panic. Sarah, she burst in, waving her phone. The hotel just canceled our party. Do you know what this means? The governor, the mayor's wife, the Hendersons. I'll be the laughingstock of. She froze, finally taking in the scene. Her husband slumped in his chair, executives frantically reading their phones, and me standing at the head of the table in full CO mode. What is this? She stammered. This, mother, is a board meeting. Where your uninvited daughter is acquiring dad's company. Please take a seat. You'll want to hear this part. My assistant appeared with another chair as my mother sank into it, her perfectly manicured hand clutching her signature pearls. Now, I continued, as I was saying, Nova Technologies is prepared to offer a generous package for the remaining shares. Given the company's current market position, we're willing to pay. I named a figure that made several executives gasp. My father's hands trembled as he reached for his water glass. That's more than fair, one of his board members spoke up. Given our current situation. Situation, my mother interrupted. Robert, what situation? What is she talking about? My father couldn't meet her eyes. The company, we're not doing well. The last few years. Not doing well? I projected the latest financial reports. The company is 3 months from bankruptcy. The only reason the stock hasn't completely collapsed is because of our strategic buying. Bankruptcy. My mother's voice rose to a pitch that probably shattered windows in New Jersey. But the country club membership, the anniversary party, our status. All built on a crumbling foundation, I said quietly. Just like your assumptions about my career. My phone buzzed again, this time with breaking news alerts. Nova Technologies to acquire Davidson Manufacturing. Tech giant expands into traditional manufacturing. Sarah Davidson, from rejected heir to industry titan. Your private jet is ready, Miss Davidson, my assistant announced. The board in Tokyo is expecting you for the international merger announcement. Private jet, my mother whispered. Yes, mother. That little hobby you dismissed? Pays for quite a few toys. Speaking of which, I turned to my father's executives. Those of you who wish to stay should know that Nova offers excellent benefits. Stock options, private healthcare, even company aircraft for key personnel. The executives straightened in their chairs, suddenly very attentive. My father seemed to age years and minutes as he watched his leadership team's loyalty shift. The papers, I nodded to Jessica, who distributed thick folders around the table. Standard acquisition agreement. We'll retain the Davidson name. Ironic, isn't it? The daughter you thought would never contribute to the family business is now its only hope for survival. Sarah, my mother tried again, her social survival instincts kicking in. Darling, about the anniversary party. Perhaps we could reschedule, I suggested. Of course. The hotel will be under renovation for the next 6 months. But after that, I smiled slightly. I'm sure the new Nova Technologies Conference Center will be an excellent venue. If you're invited, of course. We need space for important guests. The sound of jet engines became audible through the boardroom's windows. My private plane had arrived, right on schedule, landing at the private airstrip visible from our vantage point. Is that? My father started. The Nova Technologies corporate fleet? Yes. Though you'd know about it if you'd ever asked what I actually do instead of assuming I was playing with computers. The executives were now openly staring at the sleek aircraft bearing my company's logo. Several were already updating their LinkedIn profiles, hoping to survive the upcoming reorganization. You have 1 hour to sign, I informed them, gathering my things. After that, the offer expires and we'll wait for bankruptcy to acquire the assets at a much lower price. And the anniversary party? My mother asked weakly. Is the least of your concerns right now. Though. I checked my phone. I see most of your guests have already RSVP'd to Nova's annual charity gala next month. Funny how quickly social calendars adjust to new realities. Standing up, I straightened my jacket and headed for the door. When Dad? Remember when you said I'd never understand real business? That technology was just a passing trend. He nodded mutely. Next time, try looking up from your outdated manufacturing reports and notice that your disappointing daughter built an empire while you were busy protecting your pride. The jet's engines grew louder, its presence impossible to ignore. Much like my success. Ms. Davidson, my assistant appeared. Tokyo is waiting. Of course, I turned back one last time. Mother, Dad, I'd say I'm sorry about the anniversary party, but, well, business comes first, doesn't it? That's what you always taught me. As I walked out, I heard my mother's shocked whisper. All this time, while we were uninviting her. She was buying us out, my father finished, his voice heavy with realization. The elevator ride to the rooftop helipad was silent. My helicopter waited to transfer me to the private airstrip where my jet stood ready. Sometimes success doesn't need an invitation. Sometimes it arrives on its own terms in its own aircraft, carrying acquisition papers and lessons in humility. They had uninvited me from their anniversary party. I had cancelled it by buying the hotel. Because sometimes the best response to rejection isn't argument or anger. It's excellence so overwhelming that it renders the rejection irrelevant. As my helicopter lifted off, I caught a final glimpse of my parents through the boardroom windows, still staring at the acquisition papers that would save their company while ending their control. They had needed space for important guests. They just hadn't realized their uninvited daughter would become the most important guest of all. The city spread out below me as we headed for my waiting jet, each building a testament to the empire I'd built while they weren't watching. Sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's success so complete that it transforms rejection into irrelevance. They had uninvited me from a party. I had invited them to witness true success instead. And as my jet took off for Tokyo, leaving behind a family learning too late about the power of the daughter they'd dismissed, I couldn't help but smile. Because sometimes the uninvited guest doesn't just crash the party. She buys the venue and rewrites the guest list. That's not spite. That's just good business. The jet cruised at 40,000 feet and I gazed out at the clouds below while reviewing the final acquisition documents. My phone buzzed one last time, a message from my father. Sarah, I just signed the papers. You've outmaneuvered me completely. All these years I thought I was teaching you about business, but you were mastering it in ways I never imagined. Your mother is still in shock. The governor just called to congratulate us on joining your empire. He seemed amused. I think I finally understand what real success looks like. I typed back a simple response. Success isn't about invitations or social status, Dad. It's about vision, determination, and the courage to build something extraordinary, even when your own family doesn't believe in you. See you at the shareholders' meeting. Don't worry about an RSVP. Your attendance is mandatory now. Jessica smiled from across the aisle. Ready for Tokyo? Always, I replied, watching America disappear beneath the clouds. After all, uninvited daughters make the best CEOs. We're used to creating our own opportunities.